Hello, I'm Tim Thor-Larsen. Welcome to the A-List. Joining me on this edition is Laura Meehan, a weekend television producer at NBC5 Chicago. Welcome to the program, Laura.
Thank you.
So let's start with the inspiration. How did your inspiration inspire you to do the job?
Well, in high school I was on the paper, our school newspaper, and my mom, it was about the time to figure out what you wanted to do for your career, and my mom kept saying, what do you want to be? And I had no idea. And I was pretty good at the newspaper, and she said, what about journalism? What do you think about that? And sure enough, that seemed to be my biggest interest. I just didn't realize it. So we pursued finding out what a good college would be for journalism, and I specifically liked broadcast journalism. So we looked into where I should go to college and go from there.
Starting in college, how did college help you start your job?
Probably one of the best things I could have done was find a college that was really good for what I wanted to go into specifically. There's a lot of schools out there that will have communications or have areas in this field, but I specifically loved broadcast journalism, so I went to the University of Missouri, and they have an excellent program for that field. They have a commercial TV station. It's the NBC affiliate there. You really work at the TV station for at least 2 or 3 years. You do everything from report, anchor, you're the camera person. Excellent experience. And then once you're out in the field and doing the real work, when people hear that you went to Mizzou, it's almost an instant pat on the back saying, well, this might be someone I want to hire. So it really helped me out in a lot of ways, especially in getting my first, maybe second job. It didn't hurt that that's what was at the bottom of my resume.
And what's your job titles today? What do you do for NBC?
Right now what I do is I produce and set up all of the weekend AM shows. So that's 4 hours of news that I produce from start to finish, in addition to setting up all of our special segments and booking guests. So it's a lifestyle kind of a show, Today Show format. So you have hard news, but you also have cooking guests. Maybe you have an accountant on for tax tips. Whatever's going on that given month, we try to be very timely. So I set up all those guests, produce those segments for those people, and then actually produce the Saturday show. Somebody else produces the Sunday shows.
I see. And how did technology change from when you first started there to now?
Well, I've been in the field for about 21 years. I was adding it up, knowing I was coming on. I was thinking, I know I've been doing this for a while, but
yeah, I'm sure you're used to it.
So when I first started, my first newsroom in Waco, Texas, we had typewriters. We had paper teleprompters. We had very limited technology. It was so different than what we have today. And over time, technology came into the newsroom. We got computers. We started to have robotic cameras. We started to have cameras that you no longer had to have 2 people for. We had an audio person and a camera person.
Yeah.
Well, then the cameras got more compact. They no longer needed the audio person, and it kept going like that. Less and less people were needed because technology was so great. We really started to not have as many people in the newsroom. And today, there's a lot less people and a lot more technology, which is good. We've got some great things that we can do just on our computers. I can edit now. I edit a lot of things actually, but we have a lot less editors at our station because of that. So they've consolidated a lot of positions.
It's a huge impact on the whole NBC.
It's a huge impact.
But why did you choose this job in the first place? Did you acquire this inspiration by high school or college?
I really started to figure out specifically what I wanted to do in the industry once I was at college. You got to try a little bit of everything. You could write for the magazine at the school. You could write for the newspaper. You could be a camera person. You could be an anchor. And I really just kind of liked being a producer. It just seemed a good fit for me. You kind of got to control the elements of a show. You got to ultimately tell the rest of the crew what to do. So it kind of was a good fit, and it's just always what I've enjoyed doing. It's always been a passion now that I've had. And probably the biggest and best thing when you're talking about technology is I've kind of grown with the technology and just gone with it. A lot of people can get resistant to change, and this is one field that we've just been blown over by how rapidly things have changed. So if you don't accept the changes and go with it, then you're not doing this job anymore.
Yeah.
So it was hugely important to just kind of roll with the punches, and just kind of
adapt to it.
Adapt, yeah.
And what's your favorite part of the job, or like your best part? What do you enjoy most of the do?
I really enjoy not knowing what's going to be the big story that day. I walk in not really knowing what's going to happen. You know a few things that are going on, like right now the Blago trial or something. You know a few things that are on the agenda, but anything can happen at any moment, and the whole newsroom gets taken over by one story. There could be a big fire on the south side. That becomes your big story for the day, and you become a mini expert on that day on that subject. And you come home and you know a lot more than you ever wanted to know about whatever factory that was burning on the south side that had illegal workers or something. You all of a sudden have learned everything there is to know about that subject, and then you wake up the next day and you go and do it again, and you become an expert on the next thing.
Yeah.
You're not going and sitting at a computer doing the same data entry day after day. So it's probably still the biggest draw for me.
Was that your dream job in the first place? Was that like your first job that you really wanted to do?
I always wanted to produce, but probably the dream part for me was where I ended up. It's so important for kids right out of college to not want to go right to a big market like Chicago, to go out and get a job in a smaller market, really get your feet wet, make your mistakes there, become a rising star in that market, then jump to the next level of markets. So within 3 years of graduating, I was back in Chicago, and for me that was the dream. Being able to be back close to family, working in the number 3 market, and then now holding a position in this market for so long has been probably most producers' dreams. And for me it's a reality, and I love it. I love it, and I don't ever take it for granted, and always willing to mentor and help those who are coming up, because that's a reality too. You're working alongside 22-year-olds as well as some of the more seasoned, honored journalists.
I see. I'm sure that's one of your goals too, to become one of the top producers of NBC, right? Because you are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I have small kids, so for me right now, what I do is a perfect fit for having a family and wanting to spend a lot of time with my family. If I wanted to be producing the 10 o'clock news right now, I would not be seeing a lot of my family and having the quality of home life that I have. So that's a trade-off. But I, every day, love what I do and love my position. And if I stayed doing exactly what I'm doing for the next 5 years, I'd be very happy. I'm
sure you still enjoy today, because it's a fun job, I'm sure.
It is, very, very much so. And I enjoy when we have young people being hired and we get to kind of, see what they bring to the table, because there's a lot of social media and so forth being used now. And, you guys are really good at Facebook and Twittering and all those things and using technology. And for some of us, we had to kind of get better at that. So there is a lot that we can learn from younger people and vice versa. So I love seeing all the different ages and so forth in the newsroom. It's fun for me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, thank you for watching the A-List. I want to thank my guest, Meehan, for coming on the program. I'm Tim Thor-Larsen. See you next time.